So, Anthony, we actually have decided that we're going to dedicate some time to bash Mike Johnson. It won't be a full episode of Bash Mike Johnson, and a lot of you out there don't even know what a Mike Johnson is. I will explain to everybody what a Mike Johnson is. A Mike Johnson, if you were walking down the street and you saw a Mike Johnson, you would have a strong, hearty chuckle, or you would feel as if maybe you were at Disney World looking at one of the seven dwarfs. That would probably be, you have Dopey, Happy, Grumpy, Leroy, and Stinky. He would be Stinky. He's a funny-looking little man, chubby little cheeks, greasy hair. And when I mean greasy hair, I mean it looks like he actually rubs lard in his hair. His teeth are a yellow color with like a strong green film on them. And he has very, very bad breath, horrendous breath, kind of similar to like a Haitian's ass. And he smells bad. And if you see anybody like that, it is probably either a family member of a Mike Johnson, I don't know, it might be Mike Johnson himself. Now, who is Mike Johnson? Pray tell, you ask, or even care? Mike Johnson is what you call, what we call in the wrestling business, a scab sheet writer. Except he doesn't write for a sheet. He writes for some crummy pop-up websites. You go on their website to get news, and all these pop-ups come up, and their computer freezes. But most of it's just like wrestling gossip and crap like that. And this little troll just enjoys spreading untrue rumors about me. None of these untrue rumors he ever spread ever occurred until, see, this little hobbity troll used to be a frequent guest on the Masked Maniac show. He would buy tickets and come to all the old USA Pro Wrestling, UXW shows. He actually should have bought 3 seats because nobody would sit on either side of him because he's such a little stinker. And, he'd come on, he would, talk about wrestling, gossip a little bit. And once he asked me to bash my co-host, Anthony DeBlasi, who I used to take shots at all the time.
Yep.
But I will not have anybody tell me to take shots at him. And when I refused to attack Anthony DeBlasi is when Mike Johnson started just attacking me, making up little things that aren't true. And I don't really give 2 shits. I don't care what he says. But if he's going to say them, so am I. And just, overall, he's a crummy little man. I mean, I actually wrote something on Facebook. It was something like, Mike Johnson's a little smelly stinker with B.O. And a former ECW world champion hits me up and says, Mike Johnson, who's Mike Johnson? So when I describe him, they're like, oh, the guy with bad breath and B.O. I mean, this is how people know him. He's just a creepy little turdy twerp. You got something to add there, DeBlasi?
Well, we should also mention the website that he's part of because it's filled with spyware and pop-up ads.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go there. I didn't want to give any. I didn't want to send people there so they get their computers damaged.
Well, they'd be stupid if they did. It's pwinsider.com.
Well, I wouldn't go there. Anytime I've gone there, I've had computer trouble, pop-ups get in the way, then my computer freezes, then the smell of Mike Johnson comes through the computer. It's bad. It's nothing I want anything to do with. But he's an underhanded troll. Remember the story I told you a long time ago? Sorry, everybody. I got slimy mucus running down my throat from having allergies. to, like, report news in wrestling, plug some shows here and there, plug some indie shows. So what Turd Boy does is Jack Sabbath, a.k.a. Sabbath the Stiffer, he wanted his shows covered by Mike Johnson. Now, little pimple face, Mike Johnson did not want to, he didn't want to plug Jack's shows for free, even though that's his job.
You got Turd Boy and Bird Boy.
That's right. So what Stink Boy does is he goes ahead and he starts charging Jack Sabbath. I don't know what the amount was. Well, I don't know. Make up an imaginary amount. Let's say he charged him, $500 a month to plug his shows and to, let people know that when a Sabbath the Stiffer's crummy shows are coming up. So, I mean, it's kind of pathetic, isn't it, that a news guy is charging you to advertise that you got an upcoming show? And then, I had this great story I used to tell people about how a live pigeon was thrown and hit Jack Sabbath in the head and all that. And the whole story comes from Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson was a guest on my hotline, and he starts telling me about how him and one of his friends were in Jack's store, and some wrestling fans ran in, and Jack owed them money, and they had a live pigeon in their hand, and they threw it, and they hit Jack in the head, and Jack fell down and chased him in the street, and he fell down again, and they drove off laughing. That's not my story. That's Mike Johnson's story. But, of course, now that Mike Johnson doesn't want to be a part of it, and he wants to try to get Jack's money, of course it's, oh, no, I never told that story, even though we told it live. So, just a scummy little smelly piece of shit.
Two-faced.
Two-faced. And I'll tell you, here's the funny thing. A wrestling fan the other day sent me a thing telling me that Mike Johnson just got married. And I said to myself, I couldn't stand talking to him. Just talking to him, you smell his breath would reek if you just speak to the guy. And I'm saying to myself, what could be worse than somebody who smells and has stinky breath all the time? And you know who that is? Somebody who doesn't mind sucking on stinky, smelly breath.
Well, you know what? I commend him that he got married. I know he waited a very long time because same-sex marriage was not legal, but now it is. And I'd like to congratulate Mike Johnson on his marriage. And, I guess he found his equal.
Disgusting. Who the hell are you married? Johnny Cashmere? Speaking of homosexuals, let's change gears for a second.